Hey everybody, welcome back to X is for Show, your favorite media response show. We are talking about none other than the end of Global All Stars. It definitely is over. We're going to talk UK. It's going to be a big, exciting day. I'm Nico. You guys can check me out, Nico Action, NICO.
And I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
Yes, and that makes me Tori Sheehan at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I.
Hey everyone, it's Peak Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, KEVO Really. You can find me at KEVO Really. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But it's over. It's finally over. So we're here to discuss the actual winner of Global All Stars.
And I just want to say that much like when Elton John was knighted and went from a queen to a knight, I do not know that the winner of Global All Stars has in any way upgraded her fucking crown by winning what is absolutely, in my mind, the just over the pants action of All Stars is.
The most manufactured crown. Yes.
Listen,
It's the end of Global as we know it, and we feel fine.
every year Rue encourages us to vote. And she's just making drag a political process. And now we're all disenchanted and miserable. And that's just what politics is, people. So go vote.
I guess.
I
Well-
think what we have to remember is what our new queen, Alyssa Edwards, says above all, which is you go on the show to win, but the real winner's who wins the audience's hearts.
It's
and
true.
I think through that,
Okay.
Melania has a lot to be proud of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild that Alyssa had the experience of not winning her season, but being so beloved after it and just like really taking the world by storm to come all this way to win a season and have somebody else really be beloved. The only, we're obviously going to talk about this so much, but like, because we just got off of a season where I think a lot of us would have been really happy if Roxy had won, Roxy being a queen in a very similar position.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm so happy Angeria won. I love Angeria. The vibe of that difference of win is very different than the vibe here. But since we were just coming off a season where this veteran really had a chance and we were all kind of on the edge of our seat because it felt really possible, likely, and deserved, to go to this where I won't say it wasn't deserved, it just felt it didn't feel like the option any storylines or edits or energy for the show was moving toward.
It makes me wonder if the ending was the beginning. Like, what was the point here? Were there multiple endings filmed? Were there multiple endings filmed, and did anyone take them seriously? Because, like, every now and then, I'll put on a What Culture video, and they'll be like, it's What Culture, and we're here to tell you about 9 movie endings you did not ever see because they were deleted. And so, like, you put it on, and, like, you see one of these deleted endings, and you're like, well, obviously that wasn't going to be it. And Jonah, I'm not coming for your lady, because he is amazing. But it would be like if Rue was like in Gottmik, you won on that guitar solo. We would have been like, are you sure that was one of the filmed and planned endings? Jonah, you haven't said a word yet. You've made no global noise.
So this winning is like that year that Crash won over, Brokeback Mountain.
But the first time my parents ever heard me scream the phrase, you dumb faggot motherfuckers. Yeah.
That was the first. That's so late for you in life.
Late bloomer. Because I came out of the womb saying that word. No.
You did not.
I did not. But
They heard all the words together, but never screamed at something.
Okay.
what
Anyway.
is so, I guess maybe off at the season is I have no qualms about Alyssa winning. Giving Alyssa a crown at this point is just kind of like a formality. It's fine. Truthfully, we're happy for her. She deserves it. It's great. She deserves it based off of the work she's put in throughout afterwards. Similar to kind of like Trixie. a lot of people were contesting about like Trixie winning All Stars 3, and truly at the end of the day, based off of those rules, Trixie won. Like that is what it is. That's how it went down. Like there was no rigging for Trixie. They didn't vote. They didn't tell all those queens you have to vote for Trixie. No, Trixie made it to the final 2 and they made a decision.
Trixie didn't flip her own lipstick so she wouldn't have to be judged.
You know, but
It's Trixie.
what I want to interact with is that this season of Global, I don't know if this was the highest pinnacle I've seen Alyssa, and I thought she did great. She did amazing, but if this is the ending they wanted, and this was all big production, you know, pulling on the strings, they would have given her more challenges that are geared towards her. There would have been probably more dancing challenges or more comedic challenges that
More
were
sound effect challenges.
Because Alyssa, I think, tends to do well in dancing challenges and more improv-y things where she kind of just be herself and like let that magic shine in terms of how funny she is. But they didn't do that. So we have Alyssa who has 2 wins. She won at the very first episode and the very last competition episode. And then the entire time in the middle, other people were soaring to higher heights than she was. And she wasn't even doing bad. But it makes it feel weird of like, is this the satisfying ending? I don't really know. It's like it's satisfying in terms of giving somebody who I think deserves a crown. But for an isolated season, I kind of feel bad for Alyssa because the show didn't show us why Alyssa should win, really. And I think they really should have done more for that.
I think this is definitely, what is it? Scorsese should have won for Running Bull or something, and so they gave it to him for Gangs of New York, and it's not his best work. That kind of feeling, I think, is what we're getting from this. I will say...
It's wrong season Emmy. I completely understand what you're saying. Yeah, it's wrong season Emmy.
Yeah, and I also think, I will say, though, that for me, much like with All Stars 9... where I walked into the finale being like, I've got my gal. I know she's going to win. You can't change me. At the end of the lip sync, unlike with Roxy, where I felt that Roxy won that, when they pulled back and they showed the girls waiting to hear, I saw Alyssa want it so badly that I went, I think I want to give it to her. And I think for me, someone who's already predisposed to loving Alyssa, I was very surprised at myself that I was like so excited for Nihilania to all of a sudden at the end be like, you know what? I just think it'd be nice. So I wasn't upset. I agree with everything that Jonah is saying. I think that this was very much not the triumphant Alyssa, sailing through, winning it all, taking it to the crown kind of thing that we thought this would be. But at the same time, I think it kind of showcased that she's ready to be Drag Race's global spokesperson, I guess, because there's always that sort of spokesperson for the show that's part of the winning. And I think for me, she really showcased that she can do that. I love Kitty. I'm excited to see Kitty go places. I could see Kitty saying something real wrong on the internet. Same with Queen Kong. And you
could see Queen saying something wrong on the internet?
We have!
Well, honey, you need your glasses checked.
I'm not blind right now. I'm pretty blind. So
no, I'm with you.
I think Alyssa really embodies if we are going to send a queen out and visit a bunch of countries and not screw it up, Alyssa is the one. I think Nilania would also be an excellent one, but I think she needs a few more years underneath her to get like the go fuck yourself 30s kind of vibe. Give her a little more strength, a little more confidence, a little more self-assuredness, and I think she could do the same. So I think Alyssa is a great choice for global spokeswoman. And if she can't do it, Coco can.
I definitely hear what you're saying. I don't think you're wrong. I think as far as like a queen that would go out around the world representing Drag Race, she is a phenomenal example. I'm starting to get to the point where I'm wondering about maybe like, inducting people into the Drag Race Hall of Fame, emeritus awards, that kind of thing. Because the bigger thing is like, when you look at record overall, like you might kind of even look more at Kitty and Queen, who each had 3 wins. It just, Alyssa's time on the show didn't feel like the story wasn't really there for me for her having this incredible win. And that's not to say that it didn't happen on because again, like they write these episodes, they edit these episodes. It can be whatever you want. And I just wasn't getting I was really getting the vibe of holy shit, she is totally composed. She's everything she has is cohesive. She also has a ton of money. Like she is really so professional, and I love to see that. But I mean, the story that we got from Nelania from beginning to end was just so kind of edge of my seat. Like I can't believe how much this person is coming into her own and making me fall in love with her, where like each week it was a little bit more and you were seeing both her talent and her vulnerability. You were seeing how like relatable she was. What? You didn't?
I've never heard a better way to describe a dude's front and back nudes. His talent and his vulnerability.
There you go. Yep.
There we go. There it is.
And boy, did we see it. And, you know, the fact that she was the only queen who was English as a second language and really worked with that and overcame it. These are not all things that I say, therefore she has to have won and I'm angry, but it's more like I just felt like I was on this roller coaster of the Nelania story. And so to get to this moment where Alyssa has kind of, I feel like even a lot of times took a backseat to Kitty and Queen, just at the very last minute for them to be like, you are the winner. It's not even so much that it's undeserved. I don't understand it. Any of that. It's more just like, I don't know what we were all thinking behind the scenes when we were writing and producing this show to deliver this ending.
I think it has to do with the idea that a reality show producer is basically an improvist. They're basically working with the yes and of these girls' incredible talents. And what I'm really hearing, because it's exactly how I feel, I'm not looking for a season of reality television to always deliver the most compelling ending. But like I think about season 5 to bring up, Alyssa, and I think about how many girls could have won that season. There was so much bread that season, they forgot to put in the filler. And it was nuts. So then you get to this season, and at the end, it really does feel like there isn't a drop of filler. Kitty's not my kind of queen, but that doesn't mean she's not a lot of people's favorite, and she belongs there. Queen is one of my favorites, but every time she says something bullying and mean, it makes me lose a little bit of respect for one of my favorite queens from any season ever. Big Nelly Bottom bitch, from a Dom top to you. I just big Nelly Bottom queen, funny term, but Nelania, genius, queen, goddess. And like, there is something about watching the biggest, strongest guy win that is not compelling. And when you've spent the entire season watching Pedro Pascal work his way into the Game of Thrones just to have his eyes gouged out by the mountain, come on. It is super unfulfilling, and it's actually the producer's responsibility to make me care about Alyssa's win. Alyssa deserves the win. Alyssa deserves the crown. None of these things are untrue about one of the most talented, successful, well-respected drag queens in the history of her industry, not to mention choreographers, talent finders, talent bringers, etc. And yet, the show did nothing to cement the value of her victory. You can't tell me that I should look at these people like sports stars and not check the scores. And you guys should have done a better job presenting her stats throughout the year.
It was really weird because much like season 5, this kind of was going the direction almost of the underdog. Nelly was kind of our underdog. A lot of the queens initially on first impressions underestimated her for no specific discernible reason outside of the only thing I could think of being that she was potentially the weakest at English. And she's a dominant force. She did well in many challenges. And we have these other two juggernauts of Kitty and Queen doing so well in challenges that are having conflict and strife against Nelly. And Alyssa was just kind of there. Alyssa being much more professional, kind of stayed out of a lot of it, or to our knowledge. Let me rephrase that. What they showed us is Alyssa staying out of it. There has been some confirmed tea that Alyssa did get into it with Queen a little bit, and
Who could help it?
Did you watch the video?
There's video.
People talking about it, like the video where everybody's talking about it.
Okay.
Everybody's being very like, well, but I mean, we won't talk badly about anyone. But it's
shoot a link.
It was just
Yeah.
very weird that our winner wasn't the protagonist of the season. I'm hesitant to call people villains because, again, edit reality show. On one hand, they can't make you say anything. You said what you said. They didn't put the words in your mouth. They didn't deep fake it. You actively did say those things. But sometimes stuff is taken out of context. Additionally, some things aren't shown, like Nelly giving it back just as much as she was taking it. Giggity. It wasn't like it was the same thing on season 5. Jinx wasn't just this bullied victim. She was giving it back to the other girls that were coming for her, and that's what you do as a drag queen. You don't stand down. You have a spine, and you say, "No, I deserve to be here. I'm a force," and you're threatened. All that being said, it is just very peculiar that they came up with this decision of, okay, we're going to crown Alyssa, and this decision they've probably known for at least for a little bit, because. NICO, you mentioned it. Because everybody made it to the finale lip sync, everybody has a filmed ending because they don't want anybody there to spoil any of the girls. And this was, I think, because it's an all-star season, there's no live audience, so they only have the girls and the crew's NDAs to worry about. But everybody has a filmed ending, and because they don't want anybody to know beforehand. I don't think Alyssa was the initial winner, but in part due to fan reaction, they went with Alyssa.
Do you think it was fan reaction to Roxy or the season progression?
A mix of both.
Fascinating.
Because Queen I think got the harshest edit because I think Queen was also the one in the most fights. They kind of softened on Kitty towards the middle and end, where Kitty was kind of having some strife with Nelly. They made up, and then Kitty kind of just didn't really interact with Nelly in a conflict sort of setting. So it was just kind of like, okay, I guess you kind of damaged her image, and then kind of just left her. I don't know what else to say. I feel
how male
bad.
Executive of her.
I feel bad that their image was tarnished in this way. And I don't know if it's because they were working with their story producer, and the story producer got in their ear and was like, hey, you know what? Be a little bit more bitchy. Say those things you want to say. Or whatever. We're obviously not there. We don't know what goes into the show. I want to keep reiterating, like, it's an edited TV show. Like I said, there's a story producer. They make stories. That's what you do. You look at season 16, Plain Jane, creating everyone's story, literally giving us the best TV, making it to the finale, but not making it to the finale lip sync. She wasn't in contention for the crown. And that's often how I see this show treat the girls who are willing to cause conflict and strife. They get rewarded to make it to the end, but they don't win. I do not think there's been a villain who's won Drag Race.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I think the
so.
closest would be Bianca.
I was
gonna say Raja. I was going to say Raja.
How dare you?
So
Raja also,
I argue Bianca's more of the anti-hero.
I know, yeah, I agree. It's because there's really not a lot of villainy in that season. Everybody's just either crazy or when they're really shady, they really do present the other side. Like, that's the thing about Bianca, is she goes really hard at times to the point where they're cutting her like a villain edit, but then they do a lot of other cuts with her where she's specifically really kind, and also is the only queen that gets the chance to be like, this might be a read, but I'm also asking you a factual question that you need to have an answer for if you want. Yeah, like if you want to live in this world, you need to be able to answer these questions. I know I'm like kikiing with you, but like anyway. So you're right. I mean, like the villain usually does not get it. And what's really funny about Kitty is you're also really right about the fact that like they got up to her kind of, for lack of a better term, bullying Nelania about crying, about the fact that Nelania was just saying, like, she doesn't know how to work with the fabric. Not that it's bad, just doesn't know what to do with it, and she's scared. Kitty goes way too hard on her, pulls it back, and then is basically fine for the rest of the season, but they never give her a balancing out redemptory moment. So the last really big thing you have of her is this moment where she's just being horrible for no reason and kind of won't stop. And then after that, it's just like, oh, she's really funny. And it's just kind of a weird, again, it's like so many of the other edits this season, it just puts everything in such an odd position when we get to here.
I just want to double check really quick. Can everybody who thinks that Raja was the villain of her season raise their hand real quick?
I mean, the Heathers were a group of supervillains.
But I agree.
The Heathers were a group of supervillains.
That is what 3 wrong, jealous hands look like. I just want everyone to know.
Manila was also in the group. Manila is also, you know,
okay, I think
if Raja was the Magneto, then Manila is the...
yeah, let's get a Raja was right mug out here.
Oh my god, if I could have a Raja was right mug and a Raven is really nice mug, I would like live in the
I'm going to make the quick argument. Everybody on season 3 was a villain. No one came out looking good that season. They were all beautifully rotted in the best way possible.
Yeah.
This season itself was a villain. Let's be real.
Wow. Okay, so I do want to say a couple of other things because I can't believe we're only 21 minutes into this, but this is some of the most riveting on the fierce discussion we've had about this show in a really long time. I want to say I love Queen. I'm a big Down Under fan, long time big Down Under person. Queen and Spanky are 2 of my all-time favorite queens in the history of the franchise ever. I'm so glad you guys said it because I do want to say that I think that's something that happens when you talk about a character or maybe even your friends, right? You go to another person and you go, I want you to know everything I love about Trixie. She's a musician. She's an entrepreneur. She also appreciates a good sexy bear. I can list a million things I love about Trixie. I won't mention unsavory partnerships. I won't mention foolish things that were tweeted and have since been deleted or apologized for. I will frame it so that you guys see what I love about Trixie. Do you guys think that Queen was just the largest target and because she's 7'11" and therefore was the easiest to make the bad guy? Or do you guys think there was just not enough polite, pleasant, kind Queen footage on the floor? This is a tough one.
Well, as someone who has not met Queen before and does not have that yet, because I have stalled out before a Canada season, I think for me, she came in feeling like this was going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, sail on through for her. And I think she looked around and then was like, wait a second. I thought I was competing with the upper echelon. It doesn't feel like the upper echelon around here. And I think it started to bother her that people she didn't consider as good were coming for her or were in the same room trying the same thing, not operating at the same level. So then what is she doing here? Why is she here? And so I think that was to me, it felt like that was an internal monologue that was happening to her. And I also think that Australian queens don't do well in American edits. I think they are much more dry, much more shady, more upfront about it. And they'll look at you and yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, being broad and being spiky and expecting broad and spiky back. And then you don't know, and then not understanding why no one is giving it to you like that, which is sort of, I think, what we dealt with Courtney Act and her edit as well. And we just haven't learned in 12 years.
How come Brooke got to host Canada, a country she did not pimp out in her name? I do not think her name is Queen Beck, right? Yet, where is Courtney Act hosting Down Under?
Well,
Yeah.
that's
Well-
that is a unique
Well,
case.
Ask this question once a week to Jonah, and he
That
answers
is-
the
I don't think
same
we have time to
way.
get
This
into
is a
that.
unique case. This,
But I will say this: I would be wearing a shirt that says "Courtney was right."
yes.
I would be.
Yep.
Caught in the short. I worry this was the nice edit of Queen. From the little rummagings and backstages of things that Queens have talked about, a couple of girls went to the producers asking if, I want to phrase it this way, that if Queen's behavior is acceptable. Because apparently it might have been much worse or perceived worse. I don't want to give absolutes like that, like definitives that like I was there. Would I have loved to have been a fly on the wall? I'm sure all of us would have. I'm sure there are so many little sachet purse out of the mouth falling queens that would love to have been on the fly on the wall to see what they were talking about. But none of us were there. I think the truth is a little bit in the middle, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. I think Queen coming from Australia, and like Tori said, of the couple of our oceanic friends from that area that I've met, that the people that I've met from that area, definitely a little more blunt, definitely a little more direct than you might be used to, and sometimes I think that could be construed for rudeness in some capacities. There might have been stuff that might have been taken out of context, but it also, from what the other girls have said and from what other behaviors have made it seem, like Queen either leaned into it or like was not aware of how much it wasn't jiving with the other girls, and so just kind of kept doubling down.
I have to wonder how much of that is also like having a producer who wants to, like, I think about Unreal, and like I think about the way we are shown by a person who worked in reality TV that sometimes reality TV people are driven to dark, scary places. And like, I don't necessarily think that there was somebody going up in Queen's ear and being like, do you know what they won't expect? Racism. Like, but like, there is definitely some moments that are like a little bit, which creature is speaking? Is it a devil or an angel?
Well, and Oceania as a region has a very different relationship to what they define as racism, what people find offensive.
And their airlines are always falling out of the sky.
Truly. And a producer saying to you not like racism's gonna do, but like constantly like don't back down from being yourself. Be your authentic self. Always show your humor. Make the jokes that you think are funny. There's ways to coax out of somebody their worst, most ill-advised behaviors without ever saying that. And again, like, that's not to say that's what happened. Like, that just might be how she is. But this does get to the heart of what are we doing with global? Because we can't account for the really big things, like that people don't all speak the same language, and who's going to cut and edit what in order to make sure that everybody gets understood the way they deserve to be. That I think there was so much that could have been done there that was just completely left on the table in favor of saying like, it's going to be English speakers and Americans watching this. Let's focus there and not worry about anything else. How are we ever going to get anywhere near the subtlety of let's story produce around the fact that these people all come from drastically different cultures where language and humor and what's acceptable and what's not intersect in really different ways. And like, it's the type of thing where you might even make a joke that you think is perfectly fine because it's just coming right off the top of your head in a situation, and you might even know that like, oh, I should have watched myself in this situation. You might even apologize, but it's out there now it's been said, and there is no guarantee that anybody is going to advocate for you or cut for you, no matter how much your intentions were good and you just made a mistake. There's so much stuff like that to factor into doing a global All Stars, and what we really got was like, come here and speak the best English you can and give the best drag that you can. Like, again, there's no accounting for drag traditions in other countries with this show. Like, just so much that I feel like this could have been double the size. In the other episodes, all just could have been education about drag around the world, and I still would have watched at the edge of my seat because I am really fascinated by where these girls come from, and I think we can do a greater service to them asking them to put themselves on the line here by helping to shepherd the audience through the cultural differences, and we just got nowhere near that.
Yeah, I would also say, listening to you kind of talk about that, it kind of made me realize that this is our first All Stars or versus the world kind of vibe, where there aren't cliques, or there isn't. There's no talk of like, oh, there's an alliance. Oh no, and it makes me wonder how many of the English, like, I can imagine that there was a moment in at least Alyssa, Queen, and Kitty's head, maybe Pythia's, of, oh, the English speakers will probably click up and I'll click up with them, and then we'll be our own little group and we'll get to kind of coordinate our stories. But I think because of that, none of them got to coordinate their stories with each other, and the edit that we got was very like choppy. There wasn't a whole lot of like lots of queens interacting with each other. They were all kind of siloed a lot. And so thoughts?
I want to build on it because I think you're really right. I think that's why they made sure not to have Italy, Japan, and Germany in the same season, because they were like really worried. Yeah, I couldn't stop.
You got it.
I got it in. Thank you.
Wait, they did have them all.
No, Japan doesn't exist.
No, there was
sorry, they didn't have Japan. They didn't have Japan. Sorry.
Can I just tell you?
Don't confuse Philippines for Japan. That's a real not a
no,
good
but I mean, like, I think even one of the things that TK is pointing to is the effect of drag and culture on drag around the world, and the fact that we still don't have certain nations like Drag Race Japan. Like, I mean, I'm going to spare everybody the joke on air. But I understand that sometimes Japanese culture involves unnecessary censoring of masculinity. And so I do really recognize that there might be some issues with showing maybe drag when there are honest forms of art, maybe that are true to the Japanese culture. Maybe that's a constraint. But like, I feel one of the things that is shocking to me is that this basically was like, what if America and Europe had a big fight about drag? Or North America and Europe had a big fight about drag, and that was it. Like, this is basically an international version of Alaska's Drag the Musical, produced by Liza Minnelli, featuring Joey McIntyre, now on Broadway, featuring Lux Noir London. Sorry, now off Broadway. Yeah, he's playing essentially the man MC.
I love J-Mac.
So I also love J-Mac. Wait.
We move Drag Race only into countries with same-sex marriage, etc., right?
If TK's done booing me on that one,
Tori, I believe so.
Okay, all right. So then that makes sense for a couple of them. Like, we don't have Japan because they don't.
Didn't Helenia just say that like Italy doesn't let gay people get married?
I think adoption.
It's adoption.
Okay.
I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't remember which human right was being violated in which part of Europe at any given time.
Although, in fairness, we started it here before we had same-sex marriage across the board, so...
Oh, I did not mean that America was super great about human rights.
No. You never should.
2 more weeks.
So, I'm gonna push us to another really important part of the conversation that I'm sad that I feel like Pythia, that I feel like Gala, that so many of the big names from this season had no space this episode. And I don't know how that's possible when Pythia brought extra heads. So,
how's your head?
Oh my God, it's triple good.
Multiplied.
I mean, we did the Lollapalooza last week. I think
that's true.
Okay, but Pythia is not a good dancer, so why would you point that?
Somehow she convinced the spot operator to just stick on her face the whole time. Like, she was in a key light moving around that stage.
Can I offer one minor correction? I do believe Japan. I want to make sure we double check this and make sure we're not spreading any misinformation. Always good to double check your sources. No, it's okay to be wrong. Japan does have same-sex marriage, but Japan's views on LGBT stuff is
Right.
a little more complex for what we get into on the show.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. And thank you for checking on that, because of all the things to be wrong about that we don't care, that is a good one to know, especially for our audience.
Because that's one we care about.
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't care about these people's personal lives. We can just make stuff up like that thing Saved by the Bell got in trouble for.
I heard that Alyssa sacrifices cows. I'm kidding.
No.
She just
Yeah, I don't know.
enjoys the barbecue.
I wasn't bummed or super surprised that we didn't get a ton of the other girls. The only reason I might have wanted them there is because I stand here before you today believing that the twist of All Star Season 3 was one of the best things to happen to the show. I do think, even though we vote for a miscongeniality, putting congeniality and how you work with your peers into the winner as well is hugely important. Go, Joe.
I was gonna say, I love that they yoinked it from Big Brother and said we're doing a jury and
Yes.
YouTube will pick.
Yeah.
I only wish they knew about it beforehand, because that opens up a lot of strategic play.
I agree. I can see both sides of things. I will always love that one because I really do think Shangela got caught with her pants down. I think the whole point is, if you're a dick, sometimes it's going to come back to bite you. And alas, here it did in a way that was poetic and beautiful.
It's like, seriously, it's Jussie Smollett on Empire, and then the real world.
Yeah.
Shangela, my dear, you are going to be tried by a jury of your peers.
Yeah, I mean, it really, to me, it was a hot moment. I really enjoyed that. And I do think if you say, here's an additional criteria, I absolutely think Trixie won. I thought she was lovely. I love that it was Trixie versus Kennedy, because Kennedy was so strong with her peers as well. They really loved her. And this was a time where it wasn't popularity contest. Nobody was fake. They couldn't fake it. I now would love to see the strategy as well. I only know that the other side of that is there are people who would be like, I'm being really nice, but I'm horrible inside. And my confessionals are me just being rotted, because I also want to make sure if I need this jury vote, I have it, which is reasonable. That's all part of the fun. But I would have loved to have seen that here, because one, it would have given the other girls more screen time and would have given them some time to talk and to talk about what the culture was in the workroom. I guess, I don't know, it also just maybe would have given us a little something more. And I understand why it's really difficult to do it, because it's an X factor for the production team, but I think it would have been cool to do here. I really always desperately wish they would bring it back. And yeah, I mean, like, we didn't get a ton of the other girls. They all looked amazing, but we didn't get to see a lot of them. Miranda LaBrow, that was such a good look. That one absolutely stuck in my head. And of course, congratulations to Soa Demuse.
Yeah.
The congenial assassin. We love you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this moment that KEVO lovely had on before. One, congratulations to Miss Soa Demuse for winning.
Oh yeah, they were all completely ready.
This is queer history. This
Yep.
is the queer art Megami
Yep.
asked us to protect.
Yep.
This
Yes.
was everything for people doing the original Bad Romance
Bad Romance.
choreo,
Yep.
and they
Well-
synced it all up.
And do you think Alyssa won because she did the least amount of Gaga choreography and therefore gave the most of herself? Because that was what I couldn't help noticing, is the other three were like 80% the Gaga choreography,
Yeah.
but Alyssa was like doing Alyssa.
I
So I
think
wonder
it's
if that helped.
the Lady Gaga gambit is you have to do enough of the Gaga choreo for us to go yes. But I think you
Yeah.
still have to do a little bit of your own spin.
This isn't
I-
karaoke.
I will say we've been getting on the editor's case the entire season. I think it's because they put all their energy into this one lip sync.
Yeah,
did.
this
lip sync
is
was
all they could do.
edited
They just
beautifully.
they had to sync this and then go home.
This was where the budget
Um,
went, and then everything else was done by RuPaul herself.
This is
Well,
why
everything
everybody
this season.
people meet monsters.
I could do this on my phone.
And she's like,
But
"Is this
I
a
will
fact?"
say this was another moment where I was like, oh, I guess Nelania just completely won.
Yeah.
Because, for one thing, like, she did win the lip. Like, she was so good at the lip sync. I loved it so much. But something about the edit, and maybe it was just my Nelania rose-colored glasses, because I'm just, like, was so team her by this point, but this really felt like an edit prior to her being announced as the winner. And that might just be me, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but I was captivated by her performance during this lip sync. I loved it so much, and it really just felt like the capstone on the journey of just seeing her be so great.
For our not to again, we don't talk about. We're trying not to talk about other people's YouTube shows on this show. But very quickly, to what you're talking about, Kylie Sonique Love talked about how for her 2 of Hearts
Hold on.
against Morgan.
Excuse me. If you are a Drag Race contestant, winner, PA, if you've ever swept up the studio, we'll talk about your YouTube show. We'll talk about it all day. We'll rate our favorite episodes of your YouTube show. We'll just stream your show as our show and take the hits. It's good.
You won't do that one. We'll do everything else. But on Give It To Me Straight, Kylie Sonique Love talked about how a producer actually said to her, it was really difficult to edit to make you look like you lost that. Because it's one of the most underrated lip syncs from the show. Both her and Morgan literally gave everything to try and stay.
2 of Hearts.
2 hearts that beat as one. That's as much as we can do for copyright reasons.
Well, I would also just like to remind everybody that Stacey Q would later go on to appear on The Facts of Life, where she would play a young person who just like worked in the store, and she is actually KEVO. This is literally why I always say this. She says, "No, I know that it's true because I read it in the news. It's right here beneath an article that says woman gives birth to duck."
You don't say that as often as you.
It's why I use to duck or gives birth to as everything, because Stacey Q delivering that line lives in my head eternally.
And here I thought you were making an X-Men joke of like the snake X-Men lady with the pheromones. Oh.
Okay, Stacey X is not Stacey Q, but now I'm obsessed.
My brain, what?
She can go open for Dazzler. How do we like the song?
Dazzler's boyfriend is just straight up Dr. Ndugu. But how do I like this song that they did? Bad Romance?
No, the song. Remember how they did a song?
They did a TikTok dance.
Dance like the world is watching.
I actually thought it was the cheapest, dumbest early show, easy to forget, but best. I don't know. If you're gonna make something cheap and make it fun and make it stupid, it either has to be like Gay Pride Halloween parade at Asbury Park, or it needs to be a 3rd grade Halloween parade, because they have roughly the same budget. And so it needs to be one of those 2 extremes, because when you go to like the cosplayers, Kevo, you can zoom in on any part of that photo you'd like. Because when it comes to like a cosplay performance, like immediately the ceiling is so high. By keeping this cheap, by keeping this simple, the girls were what's shown. I didn't think twice about the fact that, like, while I don't think season 15's Blame It on the Edit is one of the greatest performances of all time, I think the Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson Scream references overtake the girls' performances, with the exception of Sasha Colby, who is a Janet Jackson in her own right. And so I think the intentional low budget of this, like Smile or like Long Legs, like films that seek to be high polished quality cheapness for the sake of the art, I thought this worked really well, but I probably would have really, really dinged it anywhere else.
I think Rude just started playing Just Dance, and that's why we had this music video.
Yes.
You said that at the time, and I cannot help but agree with you. She was probably just like, "You hold the controller? What? You're stupid."
I also said something not very
dumbest
nice about
thing.
RuPaul's hands.
Yeah. I also think that this is them finally being like, well, what if we try to get viral on TikTok? What if we try to do it?
We understand that B2B no longer works. What if we did P2P?
No, not you, them.
Oh, but I say that's business to business and peer to peer. It's not like boob to boob and penis to penis.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like-
I just
but no
think you're
to
talking to the wrong audience.
so
But they
what-
should try doing penis to penis. Is all I'm
I-
saying.
I think
yeah,
if they
I
found
think that would
two-
do better.
Yeah, if they found like a contestant and a pit crew member, how did you guys feel about the fact that the pit crew really served about as, I mean, like a good season of Drag Race, the pit crew feels like the Peach Pit on a good season of 90210. But here but here I just find myself sort of like, we've reached a point where the girls don't really leave room for like man candy and briefs. And like, it's sort of funny because I made the comment earlier to Jonah as we've been watching Dragula that Israel just kind of stops being quite so important and Sean never really makes a home there. But it's interesting to me that we don't really highlight the way that unbelievably important queens like Maddie Morphosis or I'm so embarrassed. Why can't I think of her name? I love her so
Victoria
much.
Scone.
Thank you, Victoria Scone. How important they are to the bigger landscape of the Drag Race universe, and their safety, their comfort, their importance is why we need to stop doing everything about, as said earlier, their talent and their vulnerability on men.
I mean, as the person here who can do with or without seeing naked men all the time, it is
Must be
continues to be
nice.
well, it's just confusing because I just sit there and I go, okay, pit crew, what are you here for? I don't care what you're wearing. I spent a whole bunch of time realizing that they poorly edited the pit crew's dancing because their dance moves actually not only didn't match the moment on the screen, but didn't match even the queen's dance on screen.
Yeah.
But I was not distracted by the shiny white briefs. So, but as I pointed out to Kevo, we have a really fun
Oh.
Mrs.
Oh.
Couture teenage over. So
I think you're having a Burger King speaker
Oh, no.
girl moment. It's
Oh,
not just
no.
me, right? Okay, good.
No.
Okay, wait, you're coming through now.
Wait, hold
Oh,
on.
no.
It's starting to reset.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
Do you want to start over?
Right. So
Yeah.
we have a couple of I don't know where it cut off. I was not distracted by the brief to notice that all the dancing didn't happen.
No, still doing it. No, still doing it. You guys are not helpful.
I'll take over
You're
for a
rotten
second.
little boys.
I don't know. I feel bad. I'm over it with the pit crew. I mean, like, they're all so gorgeous, which is lovely, but like, I don't know what we're doing here. I kind of would almost rather see them in little outfits and costumes.
Oh my
and-
god! Do you know how bad I needed Alyssa's little Peter
Yeah.
Pan costume, and how much I would love to see any of the beautiful pit crew boys? in
Yeah,
that little Peter
like
Pan costume?
the fact that they're big buff assistants is actually, to me, is fine.
It can still
like,
be sexy. Like,
Yeah.
it can be like a sexy outfit, but that doesn't have to be sexualized.
yeah, exactly. Like, for one thing, it doesn't always need to be underwear, and then also, like, I would never ever let them do another thing where it's like, put a pillow or put a fucking balloon on their crotch and now everybody has to do
hump
that.
that.
Horrifying. I hate when we do those. But like, I don't love when it's like, I mean, like, this is fine. It's like, I don't know. I'm not titillated by it. I don't really know what we're doing. And
I mean, I'm titillated by it. I just don't need it here.
yeah, thank you. It's exactly that.
The difference would be it would be just booty shorts instead of actual
Right.
underwear.
Yeah.
Like, there's sneakers, there's socks.
Yeah.
Just put a little bit on the thigh and it'd be
Yeah,
like,
you know, I'm not trying to be prude here, but I'm just like, what are we?
How does
What are
it
we doing?
add? That was my
Yeah.
whole point. Like, Global
Yeah.
really had the pit crew, and it added nothing.
Yeah.
Like, and as a guy who, like, you know, I love a good booty in my face. I really do. But like, I don't love it in my face on my TV show where the thing I want isn't booty in my face. Because, like, and not to be crass, but like, if I really need to see some ass and some tighty whities, I'll go on Chatterbait. Like, I don't need RuPaul.
so many places you can go.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would go right to Jonah. I'm so sorry, honey. But like, I didn't want to like do that to you on air. But no, for real. I have my own big buff assistant. Jojo, say hi. He'll get into tighty whities for me. Say hi.
Hi.
And so for me, part of what winds up happening is like, I do think that the enjoyment for what the pit crew offers is often in what the girls react to. The girls giving, ooh, I haven't seen a man in 6 weeks. And I just want to be like, okay, but like a bunch of us have had the flu. We all know what it's like to have not seen other people or had sex for 6 weeks. We've all been 11. So like, I just feel like when some of these girls are like, oh my God, I haven't seen it. Oh, calm down. When some of these girls
you calm down.
I'm very calm. I haven't seen a man in like 6 weeks. I just want to be like, okay, well, Nicole Scherzinger has also been hard at work in Sunset Boulevard, rehearsals, and she hasn't seen a man either.
Yeah, I just always chalk this up to I don't think about sex that way, but I do like when they show back up as drag queens on Canada.
Like Minnie Wang.
Yes.
That's gonna be nice.
Yes. I'm also excited about Michaela Couture coming in. Isis's teenage makeover.
Ooh,
Yeah. That's Isis's teenage makeover returning.
One of the best makeover episodes from Drag Race.
Honestly.
.com.
Honestly.
Jonah does research in the news code. I need to make another quick correction. Japan does
Yay!
not have same-sex marriage. I was wrong. It is complicated and weird.
I was gonna let it live because I also looked it up before I said anything, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I also took it off of Google's AI answer, so maybe I'm wrong.
I had to look at 3 different articles, and I had to look at the Wikipedia page that specifically states no, they do not have it. 2001, there was a ruling that it was unconstitutional, but as recent as 2022, sorry, not 2001, 2021, 2022, it was deemed constitutional, but the rights against humans was unconstitutional.
All right.
Not for us to talk about.
We're gonna play JD Vance rules from now on. We're not gonna fact check on air. If you want to comment,
fact check
us.
Yeah.
Always fact check us in the comments. We're not gonna fact check on air anymore because why bother?
If you want to fact check
this was the lesson.
Give us
today.
the engagement. Engage with us, and we will get
fact check us. There
like,
you go.
comment, subscribe.
I'm gonna say I'm not gonna fact check that. Leave it in the comments.
I'll say it right now. Leave word searches. Me and Tori will do them together.
Leave word searches in the comments for us, and we'll do them for you.
It's true. If you are the Zodiac Killer and you have that code, throw it on down there. We'll do it.
I know the Zodiac Killer watches.
How embarrassing it is when I'm in public and I hear an update on one of our murder videos. Kevo, the woman who put her boyfriend in the suitcase, her trial is finally happening.
Yay.
Ooh, interesting.
Anyway, speaking of
this episode took.
girls who are killer queens, I want to wrap up Global. I'm going to miss Nelly. I'm going to follow her career the same way I have followed Spanky and Queen. And obviously my following Queen led to us deeply covering this, though we would cover anything English-speaking Drag Race and are hoping to cover some of the shows that don't necessarily verge on our native language. Part of the problem is then we are possibly going to misstep in our discussion of the culture. The translations aren't always as reliable as we would like, and sometimes there's cultural context that is necessary to understand the reference. I myself would love to know how brilliant, beautiful, and funny every single one of these women are in their native language and follow their native tongue. I speak some French and some Spanish, and I'm telling you right now, I'm about as charming in each of them as a shoe in the mud. So, like, I would love to know what each of these women could be in the equivalent of English for them. I will miss Nelly. I will forever love Queen. I've gained new respect for Kitty. And Alyssa, Mama, nothing has changed. You like none other.
Do you think that we can see any of these girls again in a Versus the World? Or how do we feel about this talent pool? Now you Global All Stars. But you can be on regular All Stars multiple times.
They need to just be retired as top finals.
Why can't Helenia be on UK Versus the World next year? I don't know.
Because Down Under has added a previous contestant judge/mentor figure to help replace Rue.
Yeah.
And so I would rather see these girls give their all to elevate the platform exactly, then be
Word.
forced to compete again. Just as TK said earlier this episode, I think some of these girls just deserve to be walked into the Hall of Fame, not made to compete when they've already done everything it takes.
Also, lip sync assassins.
Yeah, lip sync assassins. I also think there has to come a point where we say, if you appear on this show, that's your swan song. If you come on this one, that's it. Thank you and good night. This is the last time you get to compete for 200,000, 500,000, 75 million, however
your nation's net worth.
$.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think if they were smart and want to elevate global as an idea, they will quietly, they won't announce it or anything, but they will just quietly say amongst themselves, once you're on global, you're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who I hope are never done, Jojo, what are your final thoughts on global as we transition to ultimately a very enjoyable light episode of UK, where I love everybody. This is such a great season. But Jojo, what are your thoughts on global as we say goodbye to what is truly, hopefully, going to be an international phenomenon?
Drag us all over the world. I will miss this season. I like getting to see what was going on, and essentially what were mini advertisements for other shows, for other seasons, for other franchises. I hope it gives a boost to these other franchises so that they can come back. I know a lot of people really want, like Drag Race Sweden, for the wonderful love of my life, Vanity Vane, the love of everybody's life, Tessa Testicle.
Oh my God, too
for
beautiful
Drag Race
to be a real
Germany.
person.
She looks great.
Really hope that these franchises are able to come back, especially with these reps coming, showcasing beautiful drag, beautiful artistry. I am so proud and happy of Alyssa that Alyssa kind of finally got a crown, because at this point it was kind of deserved. Alyssa kind of really was, truthfully, Alyssa was the Trixie before Trixie. When you talk about the global sensation of reaching outside of Drag Race, it was Alyssa. Even down to Alyssa's Secret being one of the most successful YouTube shows before they did and it's not even a bad thing. It's just they went, different things, blah 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 blah. I do think this season would have been kind of all worth it if Nelly would have won. And I wish for Global All Stars 2, there's a little more globalness, there's a little more worldliness, and my prediction is a Rue Girl will not win. That is my prediction right now for a season that's not even cast yet, that was barely announced. I don't think a Rue Girl's going to win that one.
I love that.
I had sent Jonah a thing that someone noticed, which is that anyone who wins a Versus the World or a Global All Stars, or even an All Stars, has to be a Rue girl first, has to have been judged by Rue. Jimbo doesn't get to win until she's been judged by Rue. Like, it's all the Versus the Worlds, everyone is a Rue girl. Lemon got onto UK Versus the World for a hot second, and then had to, and then before she ended up winning. Like, and that people are noticing. To me, I think that's an easy one to break pretty quickly. But it does say something that we can notice that.
I don't think it's intentionally on purpose, but I do think it's something for us to be aware of. One of the things about being a human is we look for patterns in everything. I don't strictly think that's a specific conscious effort, but I do think that there is something there, and I do think it's worth noting, like, hey, let's prop up some of these girls who aren't Rue girls just maybe a little bit more. Let's production give them a better chance, please.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody has as much authority to talk about non-Rue girls as the one of us the closest to Brooklyn territory, TK, as the furthest north of us, as the one of us who is basically French Canadian. No, I'm really kidding. I really do love how you feel about the ever-changing face of globalization in media, not just as it relates to things like Drag Race, but as it relates to things like Please, Please, Please is an American single, but Espresso is an international single. Like, there are ways to talk about these forms of art that elevate them and escalate the conversation. And I would really love to know your closing thoughts on Global as we move forward, and then KEVO takes us into UK.
I really hope they continue to do this, but I do hope this looks like All Stars 1 to us, where when we see it the second time around, we're shocked at how refined the process has been to work a little more with what actually happens, and we see all the things they did here as interesting experiments that we can finally move on from. And I think I will be very happy if that's where we go with it.
I agree. I'm looking forward to all the ways they're going to do this better. I loved what NICO was talking about the idea of highlighting perhaps each country each week. I think that'd be a really fun way to kind of walk us through the multiculturalism of drag. I'm hoping that by having these mentors on Drag Race Down Under, that maybe that kind of thought process or idea carries over. I'm excited to see where they go with this now that they know how people responded and what people expected and didn't get. For sure. How about you, KEVO?
Muted, baby.
Yep.
There's a little thing that pops up, thankfully and helpfully. So thanks, StreamYard. That is a very helpful thing that when you start talking and you're muted, a thing pops up. This whole season, I think we have felt the same thing. And I feel like the winner that we ultimately got speaks to how we felt about this season. It was just sort of here and packaged and delivered and not quite what we were expecting, not entirely what we were hoping for, not dissatisfying by any means, but we wanted more. And I am hoping that for assuming it happens, Global All Stars 2, we kind of get a little bit more and get more of what we're looking for. I hope, if nothing else, we get an idea sooner rather than later if there will be a second one and when it will be. Because I don't want to be sitting in fear wondering when it might come. I would like to know if it's happening, if it's going to be several years on purpose, or if it's just going to, flounder. I don't know. But it wasn't bad. I would love to see more. So we'll see what happens. And in the meantime, it's still going to be very international up in here for the rest of 2024. So,
yeah. Well, and I think that's a really great way to look at it, because it's not called Drag Race England. It's called Drag Race UK. So by its very definition, it's meant to be representative of multiple cultures. And I wonder how much we on the outside of the UK as a cultural base maybe think oh, they're all kind of like UK girls. Whereas when I watch an American season, I'm like, no, that's a drawl. And I hear the difference in American accents. The thing I just want to say is I have not had a season in a very long time where I've been like, you send no one home. You stop sending girls home right now. We've lost too many good ones. I'm having a minute with this season. I fell in love with every one of these girls day one.
Yeah. I love them all a lot. I kind of thought we might get a double Shantae out of that lip sync. That lip sync was one of the hottest things that I've seen come out of UK's lip sync world in a minute.
If Saki didn't have her injury, this might have been a double Shantae. But because we already had 2 episodes where nobody went home.
That was exactly what KEVO said to me when I was sobbing on the bed that no one could go home. He was like, no, babe, honey, someone already did.
There just isn't time.
Well, it was really funny because I remember we were talking just about scheduling for all the various shows that are coming up and how we're going to cover them and when one's going to end and the next one starts. And we were talking about overlap, and we were like, there's going to be a week overlap with UK. And I said, unless there is either a double save, a double elimination or something. And as soon as this episode, or as soon as this lip sync kicked in, I was like, oh, could this be a double save that extends the number of episodes we get? I don't know. It was... Yeah, I mean, I know we're working backwards a little bit, but this really was such a phenomenal lip sync. And yeah, I mean, like, I hate to love when we have to lose things, but I really do, because that's when the show feels like it has stakes. Like, there are a lot of times where you're kind of just sitting there cooking around the fact that one of two things is happening. Either you're losing somebody that you cannot understand based on the talent and what they're bringing to the show, why they have gone, or you are watching a queen where you think, like, this person was maybe not even ready to compete. Not that they aren't a great queen or whatever, but they feel like they were brought on to lose early so that other girls would have more time. And it's not fun to watch that. It's not fun to see somebody who is just out of their depth in a way that doesn't feel like it's honoring them to bring them onto the show. And when you have something like this where everybody is amazing and it doesn't feel like there's any gotcha moments, it doesn't feel like there's any like, oh, we just put this poor innocent doe-eyed girl that has never performed before in a performance situation. Yeah, I mean, ultimately you're going to get to a point where it's like, this sucks that this person had to go home, but somebody has to every week. And you know, it did already start with Zahira. Like, it made sense. I unfortunately did feel that she was the one to go, but I was really loving her. I loved her energy, and I would have been happy to have her continue on the show. And we got to this, and it's like, now it's at that next level where, like, I understand that she was maybe the lowest, that Kiki was maybe the lowest performing, that this was her time to go, that somebody has to go home every week. But this one just really feels like, man, not only was I enjoying her stuff, like, but I loved her. I was having so much fun with her. And so, yeah, it really is a loss and it's a sacrifice. And next week is probably, there's like two girls where I'm like, I'd be a little more okay if they left. But after that, anybody who leaves, it's going to be a kick in the nuts.
I don't want to be like dumb dad, but like, if you take away either Kieran or Octavia, Kyron, thank you, Kyron or Octavia, I will not recover. You cannot have them.
Yeah.
Those little twinks are precious. You have to protect them.
Guard them with your life.
It's one of the UK's greatest exports, twinks.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's literally, like, for me, the thing that I'm joking about,
I think they call them poofs,
is it's Violet and Aquaria. Like, they're just together. Although it's fascinating that nobody said Aquaria for villain.
Brad and villain are two different roles.
Okay. Okay. The
also,
apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. The airport.
Aquaria might have been a villain in maybe the first one or two episodes, but when the Vixen had that conversation with her in Untucked, she kind of mellowed out and kind of like took a step back and realized, like, oh, I'm not acting the way I should be acting. I'm not acting correct. And also,
Lavoie for Prime Minister.
Lavoie, first and foremost, give Lavoie her producer credit, because she's just getting everybody to open up and talk. This was, we should all give props for Kyron for being vulnerable and brave enough to even talk about this. Talk about it in the first place, but to be in a place where you feel comfortable to share this on national television is absolutely stellar. I hope she's healing. I hope she gets the justice she deserves and all of that. I will say there is something about how this moment is intercut to the next episode with Kyron walking in like a crab. And it's just the total whiplash of this episode. I will miss Kiki Snatch. Kiki Snatch reminds me of Chi-Chi DeVayne on season 8.
I said the same thing!
Where the talent, the stardom, the diamond in the rough is there. She just might not have the money for what they expect at this point, which isn't really fair.
But she's
to a
got the
certain
vision
degree.
through the dollars. Or the euros, the pounds.
Yeah.
But she is one of the only contestants that has been critiqued every single episode she's been on. She was never safe once in the 5 episodes she competed in, which in and of itself is a fascinating accomplishment.
Yep.
And I don't, outside of Roxy Andrews, I do not think anybody else has that distinction. I think everybody else has a safe at one point. I will say, when she was choosing the teams, I would never, for this challenge, I would have never put myself on the same team as Lavoie, because Lavoie dominated this.
For this particular challenge, this was a challenge I was fascinated to see where it went. Because if you watch the Graham Norton show, like, I thought it was a smart idea because she had support. And, you had another girl up there to talk off of and to improv off of and to tell your stories off of. They kind of ended up doing it in this, like, a your turn to tell a monologue story that has a joke, your turn to tell a monologue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and, like, maybe a little bit of interaction if you're lucky with extra time, or you're Lavoie and you just bust it out there. But, like, on an actual episode of the Graham Norton show, the guests are a lot more interactive with each other. And I don't know what they were told. I don't know what the instructions were. I, on the one hand, completely understand worrying about being overshadowed by Lavoie, but as everybody said, give her producer credit. I probably would have put her on my team because I would feel like if I throw something at her, I'll get it back in a way that's going to benefit me.
Okay, but you have intense, powerful BDE where Kiki is a little bit more of like a shy wallflower. Your presence is clear whether you speak or not. And like, I think for someone like you, that's a safe bet because you're so strong of self. But like, Kiki is a little bit more of a Jacob Dylan, i.e., she's a wallflower.
You're the worst.
I also want to note, even though they made teams, everybody was judged individually.
Yeah.
There was nothing teamwork about this outside of maybe feeling a little more comfortable who you're sitting next to be able to play off of.
Yeah.
And that's why Lavoie is just this beautiful, charismatic force of, I'm going to call her old, but Lavoie is
an icon. She's an icon.
She's a legend, which means she's old. I forgot what show that. So who said that? She has kind of been around the block and she knows what to do. It's why, I think this was a very deserved, rightful win, even though I think the other biggest standout for me was Marmalade. Mm-hmm. I was not expecting Marmalade to be this casually funny, and I want to phrase it that way because it felt so natural when she was talking and telling the story and the way that her jokes were flowing that it didn't feel rehearsed. It didn't feel like she was doing stand-up. Not that anybody else specifically felt like that, but like she was specifically the one I noticed like actively going for jokes, and it felt conversational, and that is so impressive.
Yeah, this was the one that really solidified for me the understanding that Marmalade is Victoria Scone's daughter. This was one of those where I was like, she may be funny on her own, but this feels like someone who ran some things past people before she got here, like how to do certain things, how to handle herself in a group kind of stuff. And I loved it. I mean, I was very excited for Lavoie, though. I was beside myself, so happy.
And I just want to riff on that for a second because I'm really lucky that one of my favorite human beings on literally the planet Earth, and one of the people I know to be the most beautiful inside and out, is an unbelievable queen, Luxurious Temptation. And I was just talking with I don't know if you guys know, but I have this amazing older brother, and so I was just talking with him earlier today about how the performer that is Luxurious Temptation is unbelievably funny in different ways in and out of drag. And like, it's so difficult to be so good at being funny in an on way. Oh, there she is. She's so fucking perfect, isn't she, you guys? Luxurious Temptation. If you are ever in the Chicago area, this is the queen of my heart, the queen of my life. This is the lady that I would make sure to be tipping at brunch. Hey, girl. So I just think it's really interesting because like a performer can be so funny in drag, and if you know them personally and you know how they're funny out of drag, it's totally different. And like one of the things that the workroom allows us is this opportunity to see, admittedly, a totally particularly designed version of a real person. But I do think that Marmalade has managed to create this identity where she is successfully executing who she truly is as a somewhat, I don't want to say shy person, but she's made it very clear she's not going to want to fight first. She's going to want to just sit in the room first and breathe in the art. And she has shown this. I don't know. I truly, and I feel so bad saying it, but early on in the season, Marmalade, far from my top 3. I would never, ever want to see this season end without Marmalade in the top 3 now. I am such a big Marmalade fan. Admittedly, my top 3 is Octavia, Lavoie, and Marmalade. I think this is an unbelievable season where the talent is so through the roof. Like, I don't remember the last time I was this excited about a season of Drag Race, like emotionally. I think maybe the last time I felt this compelled by a season was 9. I think the last time a season had this many brilliant voices in it was like nearly a decade ago at this point. And I am so hard pressed to continue to say goodbye to any of them. But one of the things that I'm more than anything excited about is the way they're going to continue to impress me. Week after week, I have found each one of these girls has found something new to show. And I don't know, I'm over effusive about this season because the talent level is extraordinary.
But the reason I really see where you're coming from is with a lot of seasons of Drag Race, I don't want to say filler queen in any sort of offensive way, but there's queens who like, you can't learn everyone's name because you start with so many girls and they all start falling away so quickly that it's really only by about halfway through that you're like, okay, this is the cast and these are the girls. But this is very early to have so many girls to feel attached to because they are all making such an impression.
I absolutely adore them, and I adored them on the show. I think they took a huge risk going on Drag Race. I love that it paid off. None of us saw Sugar and Spice go on their season and thought those girls are going to the top.
They're gonna make it. It might be a Sugar versus Spice for the crown.
We just did not think that. And again, adore them. Love what they did. I think they're so awesome. But the vibe immediately was, we know that eventually somebody we love will probably not have to go home because Sugar or Spice will go home. And now we are at a place with this season, for me, basically, where none of my top 6, 7 are safe because one of them is going to have to go home in order for another one to continue to be there, and I will be just as devastated. I don't technically think Lavoie would be in my dream top 3, but I will be devastated like Kyron is. So if it's Lavoie versus Kyron in the bottom, I'm going to still be devastated to see Lavoie go home. It will be horrible. And it's really just degree, slight shades of difference. Even the one I haven't responded to the best, which is Chara. I did not respond to her at all for the first few episodes, and then I just really respected what she was giving during Dead or Alive. I thought she really put into that performance something that clicked with me to be like, yeah, girl, and I fully am behind you. And then she was.
I just want to be clear, Chara, if you see me on Global on Scruff, woof.
Yeah, I will get behind you too.
And she was maybe not the most successful here, but I loved her look. I loved her runway look. I loved her energy. If she goes home at any point before the top 5, I will be really, really sad. And yeah, I mean, it's like I said, this is a blessing and a curse. It means that every single lip sync, I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm so curious to see how everybody does. And I have such joy watching their runways. This season is a blast. And yeah, like, even though we have really fun ones, we have great episodes a lot of the time, I can't remember the last time I felt like the season is a blast.
I guess because everybody's kind of talking about their predictions. I don't know if they'll do a top 3 or top 4. UK gets a little bit weird because they kind of do like one or the other. They're crazy about it.
Their lawyers wear wigs.
Kind of see like the top 4 being Relisa, Kyron, Lavoie, Marmalade, but like you can throw Lil in there. I can see Octavia slipping in there. Like this again. We said it before. We'll say it again. Give the casting producer for this season a raise, because this is one of the best casts I think of just Drag Race period. They have amazing chemistry. Everybody's interesting. Everybody's fascinating. Everybody is charismatic in different ways where you kind of want to root for them. Even some of the people that maybe could in theory like rub you the wrong way, like Chanel. I think Chanel is so much fun to watch on TV. I think she makes amazing TV, and there's something to say about a lot of these girls are, you make fun of me for being the baby on this. A lot of these girls are younger than me, and there's this unwavering confidence they have in their art, in their drag, in being on TV that is so commendable that you can't not help but not stan. Like, so many of these girls are just so incredible, and every week is, honestly, even from the first episode, we lost Saki and then we lost Dita, who I was really excited to learn more about. And, Dita, who, I sort of mention that song every episode.
Okay, but no, for real. Do you know how many times this week I have found things that I can put into the melody of Zahira? Like,
Zahira!
It does not matter what it is. I'm at the grocery store and I'm like, ooh, I think we're out of bananas. Bananas!
You're at the hyper grocery store in Essalon?
Matter.
Yeah. I am definitely if I had my druthers, my top 3 is definitely probably, I mean, I want to see Lavoie win. I recognize that Kyron is very, very good, and I think Relisa is also quite excellent, and maybe something we haven't had in the UK yet seen come so well, where we could see them go all the way. But I think, Marmalade, I think is fantastic. I think we could definitely, I think they're going to keep Chanel around as long as they can, unless she truly, I think we're going to have a very surprise out for Snatch Game next week. I don't know who it's going to be, but I feel like we're going to lose someone we thought would go far.
I wonder, I know you haven't gotten to this yet, Tori, but I won't specifically spoil too much about going on about it. I wonder if we're going to have a Canada 4 Snatch Game where 2 people are going to just be playing the same character.
Oh, we know. Oh, we know we might have that. We don't know.
There are 2 people planned between
to
Lil
do Queen
and
Victoria.
Nara.
Yeah.
But guys, we don't understand half of the references these people make, so what does it matter?
Actually, in fairness, as a fellow Victoria, I know a stupid amount about Queen Victoria, like a stupid
So we
amount.
are amused?
No.
We are
I do want to be clear, though, as Wikipedia over here, she is like literally way too versed on all of these things, and so I find myself constantly being like, Tori, I don't understand the UK. What does this mean?
What do you
I only
mean?
spent 3 months there.
I was there for 18 days.
Yay! So yeah, I don't know, Kevo, who are your picks for this exciting season so far?
It's too early for me still, I think. And again, everyone is so talented. I am having trouble wrapping my head around every time someone is taken away from us. I am really surprised. I mean, I shouldn't be, but it's so surprising to see just a regular Snatch Game again for the first time in ages.
For the first time in Drag Race history, we're going back to Snatch Game.
We haven't seen it since March?
Remember Snatch Game at Sea?
February?
Remember that one?
No, we're not even talking about that one. That one was the dumbest one that they've ever done.
No.
Sorry.
Snatch Game the musical is worse. It's always worse.
I don't know. I appreciate an idea that just needs a little more time in the oven versus whatever they would try to do with Snatch Game at Sea, which was just regular Snatch Game with a boat setting.
Can I ask you guys a question? Why nobody has ever realized this? But and I mean this, but isn't SNL Jeopardy just Snatch Game for SNL? And so
yes.
When we're thinking about the conceptual identity of a really good impersonation, and this is something that there's this video, and I don't remember who did it, and God, she's probably kicked every person she's ever met, no matter their color, so she's probably been canceled. I don't know. But there was this woman who did this unbelievably funny video of 1,000 people doing Katy Perry's Firework.
Oh, yeah!
And the thing that made every single impersonation flawless was that she had the understanding that it's 30% your voice and 70% your syntax and inflection. And I feel like one of the things that we have lost in this last few years of everybody's Snatch Game has to be snatchier is people have forgotten how to do impersonations. But one of the things that the talent level on this season of Drag Race has really reminded me is that every now and then a group of girls comes along and it reminds you what happens when a bunch of brilliant minds all sit down. It's Water for Elephants, which again, 11 people wrote that score. Holy shit. Okay. It didn't win, Tori, but 11 people. It was nominated.
Sorry.
It's fine, but 11 people. So
Can I use this as a slight opportunity to just talk about how much I love Chloe Fineman from SNL and how I think she's one of the best impressionists?
She's amazing. She's literally amazing.
It wasn't her, but yeah.
And so end of the day, I think this is the season that if this is going to be an episode where we're all going oh my God, Snatch Game classic. Yes, look at that microwave. I feel like this is it's a 30 Rock reference, folks. This is the moment for just classic talent to shine through. And I really want to see these girls show us what humor is. I want to laugh in a way that makes my belly hurt. And if these girls can't do that, that's fine. I'm going to appreciate every moment of it. But I don't know the last time I belly laughed from Drag Race in the same way. I don't know the last time I gasped from the quality of the art the way this season has made me gasp. So I'm here to do sign-offs. Final thoughts. Everybody, final thoughts off, and then we'll do sign-offs. TK, final thoughts.
Yeah, there's not really much to say here except it's just so good and I'm so stoked. And it's kind of great not to have a lot to dissect because it's just really fun. But, I love Relisa. Again, one of those classic, I guess I'm bisexual now people. And it's so nice to see Rihanna working again.
They're expensive.
Yeah, truly. But yeah, I love them all. Even Crazy Chanel, who can't stop talking. Boy, do I relate. They're just great.
No. I'm the
you are even
Chanel.
more. Truly, you are. But I have my moments.
Trying to save me from myself.
You calling me old?
No, Chanel, not you.
No, I'm calling you my projection winner.
Can you imagine you're sad and Chanel comes up to help you out? Anyway, yeah, just what a great bunch. I'm so stoked. And I love them all so much.
Okay, Tori, I need to know your final thought. Tori, can I just say it has been horrible here without you.
And we're so happy to have you back.
I'm so glad to be back with my
we
family.
want you to come home, mommy.
I want to be home. I want to be home. I was forced to do IRL family shit for 2 weekends, and frankly, I never want to again.
Well, Mama,
I'll
we're your real family. And,
it's true. Y'all are
we're
my
here
real
for
family.
you.
Even
It
you.
is It's not as good without you, and I love that you came with an Alyssa shirt on. I love that
I
you
did.
came with your biggest heart, and I would love to know your
Biggest
final
hair.
thoughts now that you're home.
I am so excited for us to spend next week having one drag show to talk about.
Oh, good.
I
one
am
lose.
also so excited that we have all these new Meet the Queens videos. I am in love with Canada's trailer. The bee theme is amazing. Amazing, the costumes they came up for it. I cannot wait. I love this UK version. I'm excited to go deep on it. And I don't know how I'm going to afford to fly to the UK to see Lavoie every weekend like I'm going to want to. And so
Mama.
I guess I need a new sugar daddy.
Can I tell you, my sugar daddy is like going to go with me to another drag show, and he's like so tired of it, but like excited because I promise
It's really interesting, actually.
Oh, for real?
I have him 2/3
Oh, yeah?
of the way to going with us to Gottmik, and
He's gonna love Gottmik.
I
He's gonna
literally
love Violet.
I 2% have him there with
This
Gottmik.
twig is nut.
Anyway, if he's taking applications, I'm open. And I'm very excited for all of this. I'm loving everything I'm seeing. I'm enjoying it, and it makes me excited to watch drag, which is all you can ask for. How about you, Jonah?
About to say, as somebody who's talking about somebody who makes me excited to watch drag.
Goodbye, Global. We hardly knew ye. Love you. Love your hair. Hope you win.
Love
Bye to that one, I guess. And I'm gonna say something controversial yet brave and vulnerable at the same time.
Okie
I
dokie.
think UK6 is better than UK2 at this point.
Controversial. Brave.
UK2, according to the fandom, is regarded with All Stars 2 as one of the best seasons of Drag Race Point Blank, period.
Yes.
I don't think that this UK6 takes that away. But I think UK6 is like creeping up over UK2 for me.
I genuinely think this is up there with American 5, American 9, American 15. It just really feels like it has like the feet to stand in the Hall of Fame.
It's showing feet in the Hall of Fame.
For free?
Feet
Yikes.
on Maine.
That's how you get in the Hall of Fame, I guess. Well, in that case, I'm KEVO, and you can find me. You can't see because my boot is too dark. I'll never be a Hall of Famer.
This gang.
We saw the boot. We saw the boot.
It
Kevo.
barely fit in frame.
Yeah.
As my personal Brit box, as my very own UK, I want to know, how do you feel about this season of Doctor Who? I'm kidding. No, really.
Not
How do
great.
you feel about this season of Lovecraft Investigations? No, I'm kidding. How do you feel about this season of Drag Race UK? And do you have any predictions? And where can we find you?
No predictions so far. Like I said, it's tough. There's so many talented queens. I think a lot of our discourse over the next few weeks is going to be, should this queen have ultimately gone home over someone else? So this is going to be a really interesting one. I am looking forward to seeing it unfold. Tori, I hate to correct you, but Down Under premieres November 1st. So we have absolutely no respite in this world. I know. Nope.
Okay, but at least this one is literally
In
being
fact,
judged by the human equivalent of a rest stop on the Garden State Parkway.
I know, it's our girl. It's our home girl, like literally hometown girl, Michelle. But no, we have no break, and in fact, we still don't know if we will have 1 or 2 weeks of 3 shows at the same time. So happy holidays, everyone. We're going to be stuffed over Thanksgiving, and in the meantime, you can find me over on the socials at KEVO Really. That's KEVO REALLY. Jojo, did you go? Do you need to go again? Who needs to go?
Jojo, where can everybody find you? Final predictions, and yeah.
You can find me places online at Peak Jonah. Final prediction is Kyron versus Lavoie top 2.
Yikes. Scary.
Tori,
Yeah.
final predictions, and where can everybody find you?
Lavoie for president. Yay! I think Kyron and Release are going to be up there as well. You can find me online at SM Tori. That's Tori with an I, Mr. TK.
You can find me at TK Elemental. Final prediction: it's going to be a really great finale that we're all going to enjoy.
Ooh, yeah, probably.
Nico, what you got?
Final prediction: I'm going to do a bunch of really intense and overlayered covers for the finale lip syncs. I'm going to go crazy over Michelle hosting. I can't wait to see what we're going to get from some of the sort of growing international areas of Drag Race, with Mexico getting its own All Stars. I can only hope that we're going to continue to see these franchises grow across the world. But more than anything, one of the things that I feel the most passionately about is how important it has become to the American population that Drag Race continue. The fact that global is in America means something so important. So my real prediction is that Drag Race has only just begun its domination of the world, and I hope that means that drag is going to have its very own Broadway any minute. Atlantic City is waiting for a place to fill with residencies. And do you know who will trek through the snow? A drag queen. So, really, end of the day, I think that this has been an incredible opportunity to talk about some of the world's greatest artists from an art form that is not considered great the world over. And I really, really hope that that changes in the near future. As for us, you guys can find us as a team at X is for Podcast, X is for Show, and HTML, that's Husbands More or Less. Me, you guys can check me out at NICO Action, NICOACTION, my music at NICO Action Music, NICOACTIONMUSIC. But the real thing that I need you guys to do is, number one, I would really like it if you guys would comment. You guys have no understanding of what that does to the algorithm. That's really cool too, but subscribe. I need it. I need it to live. It's like, I do believe in fairies. It's that moment. It's really beautiful for me, right? But 3 things that you guys can do for me, for you, which feed me far greater than any algorithm can. Guys, I so badly need to clear my throat. It is
I know. Just take it home, Daddy. You got it.
I got this. All right. Everybody call me Daddy all at once and I can do it. Okay. Number 1, I need you guys to be brave. Number 2, I need you guys to stay safe. And number 3, I need you guys to evolve daily, because who you were yesterday, that's amazing. Who you are today, incredible. But who you are tomorrow, that's the dream. And we cannot wait to be there with you then. So until then, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll clear my throat. You'll evolve, and we'll see you.
Bye.